Welcome to Max 101, a channel where we apparently don't talk about the Max anymore. Been doing a lot of bus videos. I just have a lot to get out there, and that relates to buses. So today we're talking about articulated buses. Now already we know that we'll be getting 60-foot articulated buses for the Division Transit Project, because it's an FX service, which part of FX means that we will be getting these 60-foot buses. These are articulated buses, aka Arctic, accordion, bendy bus, or bendy boy. I think FX service is exactly what Trimet needs, it's exactly what Portland needs. But even just simply buying 60-foot buses for routes that are currently crowded, and then if you want to make it into FX service later, then you could, but I think at least just simply getting that extra 20 feet of length in the bus so that you can carry that much more riders, I think that is the direction which we should be going. There are several bus routes that this would be good for, and I'll go over those in a second. But just that whole 60 feet versus 40 feet, you'd be surprised how many extra passengers you can carry. Many of those passengers are going to be standing, which is not very fun to do on a bus, but it is possible. Here are my top 6 lines to consider. I was originally going to do 5 lines, and then I got another one in there, so anyway, here they are. Number 1, and this is in order from the sun came out. I don't know if you can tell. Here's with my room light off. Anyway, the top 6 lines that I've done here are in order, in my opinion, from most important to the least important. Number 1, line 72, Killingsworth and 82nd. Number 2, line 57, TV Highway, Forest Grove. Number 3, line 9, Powell Boulevard. Number 4, line 12, Barber and Sandy Boulevard. Number 5, line 14, Hawthorne Boulevard. And number 6, line 15, Belmont Northwest 23rd. I have a few others as well for maybe further down the road, no pun intended, and these are lines 94, 20, 76, actually all the frequent service lines. Imagine that. Imagine if Trimet were able to claim that all of our frequent service lines also run with 60-foot buses to account for the added capacity and the high frequency of the lines. King County Metro in Seattle, yes, I know I talk about them a lot, it's because I've actually been to Seattle. The King County Metro in Seattle has a lot of articulated buses. They have perfected this idea. In fact, they have the second highest amount of articulated buses, only behind MTA in New York City. 42% of King County Metro's fleet are articulated buses. That's nearly half of all buses. Okay, now back to Portland. So, a few years ago, Trimet made a PDF slideshow thing. I don't remember, I checked it quite some time ago. And in there they mentioned some candidates for lines that could get 60-foot buses. And it's actually not too far off from the list I've created. It's kind of something Trimet should be looking into, like now. Actually, Trimet's already basically doing that. Not too long ago, people in the Riders Club, which I am a part of Riders Club, got an email, and in there was a line 57 survey, which is the bus line I've probably been on more than any of the others. And it was pretty much talking about this sort of thing. Should we be getting... Is the bus too crowded? Do you like how everything is set up? They even talked about sidewalks in there, and if there's like sufficient sidewalks or whatever. But what I think is worth looking into is, again, at the very least, just getting those 60-foot buses for that route. I think I mentioned it in the video from Friday, but I have been, or some recent video, if I haven't, then I've been meaning to, I have been on the line 57 more than once and had to stand on the bus because it was too crowded. During COVID, where the ridership is down way more than it was 2 years ago, for example, 2-3 years ago. That's not good. And that's a sign of something. It's a sign that you need bigger buses and higher frequency. Say buses came every 10 minutes instead of every 15, that would help a lot. In fact, Hillsborough could do with some reworking for the buses. If you want to know more about that, wait several days after this video's upload, and on Friday I'm going to upload a video about just that. If it's after that day, then a card should have come up there, or you can look in the description. Hopefully I remember to put the video in the proper places, but anyways, I have my ideas for that as well. Okay, so closing thoughts. Yeah, this was an actual short video. This is supposed to be normal for this channel. So, get 60-foot buses on the routes that make sense. The busiest of routes are the ones that need it the most. It's pretty much that simple. And maybe even get them on all the frequent service lines, or most of the frequent service lines, or just wherever it's possible and wherever it makes sense. There should never be a drop-off only bus because that bus is too full. The only reason for drop-off only buses are for buses that are 15 minutes late and have caught up, and the person behind them has caught up with that bus. So all of a sudden you found your follower. If that happens, then yeah, drop-off only to get it sped up a little bit, and so it gets to its destination a little faster. Drop-off only should never be because the bus is too full. There should never be a bus full or bus at capacity sign. It should never get that way. That 60-foot bus would ensure that that doesn't happen as frequently. I know Trimet has some very busy routes. I've seen them firsthand. I've stood on a 57 bus just a couple of months ago because it was so full. I don't like to see that. I mean, of course, I do like to see that people are using transit and all that, but the fact that there's a solution, do that solution. Get the 60-foot buses and increase frequency where necessary. That way less people are on each bus, but you're still transporting the same amount, or maybe even more, riders. You know ridership is just going to go up because more people are moving to Oregon and Portland or whatever. But I've already gone into way more detail than I needed to here. So thank you for watching, and on Friday I'll have yet another video talking about buses.